Hello, welcome to week 7. I'm your professor Robert Danielak, and today I will be discussing narrative communication in terms of critical theory and new criticism. This is highly helpful and can give you a plethora of food for thought for constructing arguments and analyzing texts and subtexts. Which includes even satire, where many a times an author is even removed from their own text in order to enter a voice and a persona to perhaps highlight the extravagant follies of certain issues or people. I will read from an amazing guide to critical theory called The Routledge Companion to Critical Theory. So, first of all, D.H. Lawrence, the famous American writer, famously stated, "Never trust the artist, trust the tale." Therefore, it speaks to the fact of questioning the role of the author in what they are writing. Oftentimes, the message is actually removed from the realistic author. So by the time the message comes to the reader, there's a lot of filtration that must occur from the real author to the real reader. Furthermore, Russian formalist and member of the Prague linguistic circle Roman Jakobson sets out his highly influential model of oral communication in linguistics and poetics. Arguing for the linguistic analysis of poetics, Jakobson proposes a model of verbal communication in which an addresser sends a message to the addressee. Therefore, it's always crucial to analyze who is the addresser, what is the message, and who is the addressee. These distinctions can be further divided into two more sections, where you end up having 6 elements in anything that is ever written. This was proposed by Chatman, and Chatman created the Chatman diagram. So what the Chatman diagram does is divide a narrative message into 6 parts, where you have the real author, an implied author, a narrator, a narratee, the implied reader, and lastly, the real reader. That's Chatman 1980. That begs the question, who's the real author and who's the real reader? So, the real author is the actual human being writing the text. The implied author is the persona or point of view or even satire or ironic message that the author gets into, for example, like dressing into costume. Next, there's the narrator, which is the actual textual voice found within the work. Next is the narratee. That is, who is the narrator talking to? It is always a general public. But at this stage, it's an idealistic general public. There's no one specific. Obviously, a text is written to be read. The implied reader, then, is the society or audience intended by the implied author. There's a specific group of people that the author intends to reach. Lastly, the real reader is the actual human being reading the text. So the real reader can be the realistic population of England at 1980 at this specific time. The real reader is ultimately who the real author wants to reach. However, by the time it reaches the real reader, the message is filtered, and it's even filtered by the real reader. We all come to read text through our own background, our own experience, our own cultural background or religious background, what we believe, what we love, what we feel about certain issues, and all of that always filters our understanding of a text. And ultimately, there's no one meaning of any text due to the real reader. You can definitely find more information about this in your research. Thank you, and see you next week.